people go back a step and they say, what would I like to earn this year? And what is that per hour? When actually you've skipped step one, and step one is, okay, what are my costs on the hour? And then how much would I like to make a year? Because you've got to cover your expenses before you make your money. So, line item 1 is your cost breakdown. Line item 2 is your hourly rate. And then those are merged into a project package. And that is how the proposal is shipped.
My name is Sian Horn. I am the founder of Elite Pilates, the Club Women's Network, a national network for women that work for themselves. I also create content.
My name is Judie Russell. I teach people how to make videos through the Vid Academy, and sometimes I make videos.
My name is Jen, and I am the co-founder of a digital marketing agency called Velocity Growth.
My name is Jay Woodard. I am the founder and creative director of Ad32. We create content for SMEs, corporates, all different kind of products, food, fashion, all that kind of stuff. So it's between photo and video.
Hello everyone and welcome to Unbranded episode 23. We are coming off of the live podcast, which was one of the best nights of this year for me, and I think the guys as well. So much fun, and thanks to everyone for posting about it as well. In this episode, what I want to talk about is the cost of content. It was actually Jay's idea and I stole it off him.
Yeah,
but it comes.
When you said that in the chat, I was like, God damn it.
Yeah. I have it in the diary as thanks, Jay. But you sent it to me as an idea after I reposted a video by Reese Hopper about the cost of content. So I'm actually going to launch straight in and play it. Aoife, I've sent it to you, so if you wouldn't mind including the video as well in the video of this and stuff. But I think it's really insightful. So I'll just press play there now and hopefully
Shan's face throughout this whole thing, this video.
Exactly. Yeah, close up on Shan.
How much should you charge your restaurant client for a monthly package of social content, all inclusive, photo, video, social management? Let's run the numbers. Shout out to Amber for this idea. She wants to know what the monthly package for this looks like for a 2-day shoot with the following inclusions. Director-producer role, $1,000 a day for a 2-day shoot. Photographer, we'll say $750 a day for 2 days. Photo edits on the cheaper end, we'll say $15 per final edited photo. They're delivering 60 photos for the month. Videographer, $750 for the day, 2 days. Rate for social edits, we'll say $500 a day for 3 days to edit a package of maybe 15 reels for the restaurant. Graphic designer day rate to create a couple graphics for the videos and a few standalone posts. We'll say $750 for the day, just 1 day for that. Simple video gear package, small camera, lights, audio that you need, $300 for the day for 2 days. Photo gear package, we'll say $150 for the day for 2 days. Monthly social media management, we'll say $30 an hour for 30 days, that's $900 for the month. This brings your subtotal to $9,950. Of course, you're adding on a 20% production fee, bringing your grand total to $11,940 for a monthly social media package for your restaurant client. You can get the exact budget template that I use on all my productions via the link in my bio. It's for free. Give me a follow for more production budget breakdowns like this one.
Go and follow Reese Hopper because he does these for loads of things. But initially I sent you one for like a 2-day kind of festival shoot and stuff like that. And that budget came to 60 grand. But this one is for 15 reels, managing a restaurant social media for a month at $11,000. So Jay, I'm going to go to you first for your opinions on this.
Like, this is the prices I want to be charging, but there's no audience here for that because there's stuff that we genuinely leave off invoices because we know people won't pay it. We'll just lose the gig if we like he said there, photo rental gear, video rental gear. Like it's starting to creep in here. So like pure example is if I come to your shoot, like I'm this much. My gear isn't included in that price. So you're renting that gear as well off my company. So there's a whole thing there. What I love about Reese is, and I want to start doing it, is introducing that 20% on top the production fees, because what that is that's profit for the business. Like my costs are my costs and that whatever it is. And that way he says you can project year on year end, right? I know it's going to be 20% of every project and this is going to be my profit for my business so they can go to the bank if I need loans and it's going to cash flow, this kind of stuff. But even when I started in Take 9, we sat down because we were all varied prices. Like some of the guys here were too low. Some of the guys I was too high. Like, and it was nice to actually sit down with other creators and sit down and go, right, let's talk money, because it's such a, like we talked money recently in an episode and people loved it. It's such a faux pas here that we were like, oh shit, okay, you charge that much. Why do you charge that much? And they'd be like, oh, because that's what I feel like. And then, so I actually kind of now after being here since November, like we're all kind of level fees, and we're all happy with that money. And like, if any gig comes in, then we know, like, one of the people here was undercharging massively, and one of them, and I wasn't overcharging massively, but I had some packages that were too expensive. That just, it didn't need to be that expensive. And I actually, when I reduced them, I saw more people sign on with those packages. But yeah, it's tough. And people understand, you're only taking photos. Sure, you're taking some videos. What are you talking about? It's like, there's so much more involved in that. Like, do you know what I mean?
I know. I totally agree.
I've had clients come to me and I've said, like, I've pitched them. They've said, yeah, love it. Then I said the price. Oh, geez, it's very expensive. And then 6 months will go by, they'll get someone in, they're not happy with the content, this kind of stuff, and they'll come back to me in 6 months, and they'll end up going with me, and I'll be like, look, you could have saved us 6 months here. But look, I understand that's the business side as well, and it has to make sense for the business. Obviously, there's not a mom and pop coffee shop that's going to pay 11 grand for content, a month. But if you're talking about one of the busiest 5-star Michelin restaurants, wherever you are, yeah, okay, fair enough. Sometimes Reese's prices are extremely expensive, and I'm like, Jesus, I don't know, is that possible? But then again, the States is another ball game altogether. Jen can equate that. Like, it's a different.
I'm going to go to Jen next.
That's exactly what I was going to say. As soon as he started calling it out, I started totting it up in my head, and I opened a second tab here with the quotes I have for content production for food industry clients in the US, and it is not far off.
Amazing.
It is correct, but it is also, we got quotes on the Irish side, not the Irish side, sorry, we got a quote from the UK and the European market, completely different. So it's...
The likes of the UK, people, like, a lot of people are fighting for it over there, so there's a lot of people over there, so it's kind of bringing the prices down, where stateside, they don't give a shit, they'll just charge, and if you pay, you pay, like...
Yeah, it's a different playing field stateside. I mean, everything, it also depends where you are in the States. So, for example, like, this particular project was going to be in Washington, D.C., probably one of the most expensive cities in the US. I mean, last time I was there, you could pay $18 for a smoothie. I mean, it's expensive. Even one of the team was buying a house at the time, and I remember being like, "How much?" I was like, "Millions!" Like, it's just unbelievable. But it's so much easier to get a mortgage, debt, and everything else is cycled completely different there. So that's a whole other tangent. But that pricing doesn't feel off for the US. It feels way off for Ireland for two reasons. One is that the pricing in a restaurant would be lower, so their bottom line is going to be lower. And then the day rates typically are a touch lower from what I've seen on the Irish side. But I mean, I'll let you two speak to that. I could be off. My day rate is lower than the 750 mark if I'm doing a package up for a few days at least. If it was one off, then I would certainly be charging that or more. So it's hugely dependent on that as well. Stateside, I've charged more than that for a half day. So it's really dependent.
Shan, thoughts and opinions?
Well, I don't know where to start.
Yeah, I know. That's why I left you to last. Yeah. Like, go on.
I think this is just two sides to this story, isn't it? Like, if you're overpriced, you may be actually targeting the wrong customers. Do you know what I mean? So it's who you want to work with and pricing yourself accurately to that market. I'm always fascinated. Obviously, this is stateside, but even if we took 2/3 of that, or a third of that even here, I mean, in that industry at the moment, not a hope, because they are struggling. I mean, the campaign for the 9% tells you, and we are seeing restaurants close down left, right, and centre all over our city. So yeah, it for me, it's more about, are you pricing right for the customer that you're talking to? I completely have respect for every part of the work that people do. And obviously, a lot of my work, 15 hours of my week, every week, possibly sometimes more, is pro bono. I work for nothing because I work for a non-for-profit social enterprise. So I spend a lot of my life pushing people on price, because we don't have budget as a social enterprise to pay big money. But now that we are scattered all around the country, I'll give you an example, actually. I'll give you a couple of examples. So we're looking for a photographer, and we have we've built a relationship with a photographer, press photographers now, because they're important. It's important that the information gets to press. But I couldn't find anybody to give us anywhere near the price that we have negotiated in Cork, in Kildare, in Ennis, do you know what I mean, around the country. So then we have to look at how we can help, how we can leverage that. So quite often that might be a contra deal where we give them something that we can get hold of for free of charge that we can give them. So there's always a way, I love a good contra deal, but a contra deal is whatever your value is to the full value. Quite often people say to me, can I do a contra? And they'd be like, oh, I see you've got a discount off that. Well, it doesn't include discounts. It's if you charge $2.50 an hour and I charge $2.50 an hour, let's give each other an hour. That's a perfect contra deal.
It did.
And I know.
Yeah.
Go on.
Sometimes with those kind of deals, you have to remember that what you're sacrificing yourself for that time as well. Like the example you gave there at the end before I was about to blow into the rant was $2.50 for $2.50. But sometimes that can get skewed quickly with the perception of value of each other's services. Yes, with a price point like I'll give you this for this, and it's an hour exchange. But it can be if you feel like the other person is too expensive, but they are still less than the value of your hour, then that's when you gotta.
Well, that's talking. Yeah, somebody of that hasn't got the same experience, etc. They wouldn't. Well, hopefully they wouldn't be charging $2.50. I quite often do contras. I would give my time to a company in exchange for value, but it always has to be a win-win both sides. A contra deal doesn't work otherwise. I suppose where I was thinking of it in the case of, say, we need a photographer, they are £500. Our membership is $250. Could we give you a free membership and pay you $150? We have to, as a non-for-profit, we have to look at every angle that we can try and create value to make sure that we're not devaluing the person that we're discussing it with, because you can offend people, and that's really important not to do that. But I noticed Gary Fox actually just put out his new rate card for the entrepreneur experiment. And I know I had his old rate card, but he's now made it public, and it's a lot more than it was when I probably showed you guys, 3 or 4 months ago, what he was charging. And I love that transparency. And actually, another thing that happened to me recently, I'm doing another podcast up in Dublin, which is obviously costing me a lot of money because I'm having to travel. I am hiring a production team to do that for me. They are in the studio, and I have some unbelievable guests coming on to that. And so last week when I was up there, I don't think they listen to this. I won't mention who it is anyway. They were like, oh, can we take some pictures? Can we use this on our social media? We really want to promote the place, whatever. And I said, absolutely no problem. Let me send you some details, of how I think we could work together. So I came back to them and said, happy for you to use it on social media. In fact, let's do a collaboration. I won't charge you anything. This is my normal rate, but I won't charge you anything. But is there any chance I could use the studio for free? You would become a sponsor, blah, blah. Anyway, not interested in doing that. So I said, listen, no problem. I'll continue to, pay for the studio, etc. I won't put you on as a sponsor. And they're like, yeah, no problem. We just wanted to use those pictures on social media, just for a bit of fun. And I'm like, now I've got emails say, would you mind not using those pictures, please? Because I don't give permission to use those pictures, because there is value to those pictures and the people that are on that pod, including myself, obviously. But, I did a talk with Dev Skian. And if you don't know Dev, she's a fabulous content creator, and she's got an agency. And she said, my face is worth something. So you will pay for it. So she does a lot of UGC without her face, and it's more expensive with her face, which I think is so clever. But yeah, so I'm sure they'd be like, oh, there's mean. She's not letting us use the pictures that we took. But actually, there's no winning it for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, the thing is as well, the problem that's happening as well, just like that with this UGC and this kind of stuff, is pure examples. I was going for a contract there recently, and I've pitched for it, and or whatever. Yeah, I pitched for it, and I kind of know the person who is doing it, and he told me who I was competing against. He said, "Look, these are who we're talking to," which I think was great, it's transparent, and I'm sure he said the same to others. But I know the other people. But the other one or two of the other people have content agencies, but they don't have gear like that. They shoot in their phones and stuff like that kind of stuff, and they edit on CapCut and like that kind of stuff. But the difference with me is I'm a bit more expensive than those people because of the gear, the insurance, all that kind of stuff. And then I think for people, because it's a big enough brand, it's kind of a murky kind of battleground where I feel that I have to charge more because I feel that, firstly, I think I deserve it because I'm, that's the skill set I'm at and that kind of stuff. But I think this bloody middle, this battle amongst all these kind of agencies and other creators and the UGC stuff, where if you charge premium and go for premium clients, people are more willing to pay. And I feel that's the market I want to go for, the bigger clients who are just happy. Yeah, perfect. We want this look. We want that style, the cinematic look, more than a phone approach, more than that kind of look and that kind of, so, because obviously the phone approach has its place massively in these places and in these things. And obviously there's campaigns I've worked on with phones and stuff, but I just think that bloody middle is very messy. There's times where I've been talking to people, I'm like, oh, like a few years ago, I'd be like, oh, it's $350 for video or $500 or whatever it is. But sure, we got someone to do €50. I was like, what? They're like, yeah, I came in and did reels. I think, Sian, you know what I'm talking about. He came in and did reels, €50, grand. I'm like, oh, okay. Doing like, what the fuck is that like?
It's so funny. It's so funny, Jay, because like I got into, obviously I switched from being professional videographer to mobile videographer, but like that was iPhone 7 land. And I never saw it as competing because Instagram Reels and TikTok weren't a thing at the time. I thought that the phone content, I kind of thought that the phone content was for people to create themselves. That's why I changed into training, because I was like, empower you to be able to create your own videos. Never did I think that like website homepage videos would be shot on phone. I was like, this actually just helps the professional videographers because it helps the kind of general public to realize how much goes into video. Because back then, again, it was a whole thing of people going, oh, sure, the edit just does itself, and it's like, no, it doesn't. Here's how you edit. And then they kind of have an appreciation for videographers. But you're right. We're now at a stage where the mobiles are competing with the professional videographers, and then the people are wondering why are you so expensive in comparison? But it's a very strange time with that. And then there's the when I was in college doing video, the first day they showed us this graph, and Aoife, I'll get you to put it up on the screen. But it's just a triangle, and there's quality, time, and cost. You can have good quality and you can have it cheap, but it's going to take you a lot of time. You can have good quality and it can be fast, but then it's going to be expensive. Or you can have it fast and cheap, but it's going to be poor quality. And where I am now with this current project that I'm working on is I have to make it fast, I have to make it cheap, and I have to make it high quality. And it's killer. It's absolutely killer. And like, it's a 2-month contract. And by the end of the 2-month contract, I know I'm going to have to take like 2 weeks off and stare into space. And that's your production fee as well. That's the 20% that, and might I just say this to all videographers, whether you're mobile or not, the production fee and the charge for your equipment is something that we should all be getting used to charging and rising ships with each other with this one, because we need it. We need it for holidays. We need it for things that go wrong. We need it for marketing our businesses, because just because you come to us at the end of this 2 months, you're going to be gone. And I need to be able to go out to other people and market my business. So, it's not sustainable the way that a lot of people are doing it. So we're competing against a lot of people that are probably going to get back into full-time work in 6 months' time because they can't keep up. But then the new kind of surgence of people are going to come back in. So we're going to constantly have to be competing. So it's a really weird time for content creation and especially professional videographers.
It really is. And the thing as well, in the States, they charge per invoice is between 1% and 3% of the overall invoice for insurance that we don't do here.
Amazing. Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So like if your project is $3,000 or whatever it is, there's a 3% fee on top of that, because it's the insurance of me being there. Like obviously, I think whatever, my insurance was $600 this year, $700, if not more. But again, you need it. Like, it's just these things that people forget about. And then if you factor them into just your overall price. Is that the better way to do it? That's just a cost and that's just all included in the price? Or is it better to be transparent and saying, right, this is the insurance fee, this is the production fee, this is this? Like, Sian, do you prefer to see one overall price and that's what it is? Or do you prefer to see a full breakdown of the price or what?
I love a breakdown, but only because then I might see if I could do anything myself. I'm like, oh, leave that out. I could do that for you. Or how much are you paying for your insurance? I'll get that cheaper for you. But I think, do you know what? I don't think we're ready for that yet here. I don't think people would even understand if you put like, and 3% for insurance and you would get questioned on it. It depends on the size of the company, obviously. But definitely small business would be confused by that just because they haven't seen it before. However, you could make the change. You could be the one to educate them. But I think that's a campaign. That's a social media campaign in itself to educate people of actually what goes into it. I love all that. The more detail, the better for me.
Yeah.
I just think you're looking at it all wrong.
Okay.
Like you're looking at you're looking at all these line items of cost.
Mm-hmm.
That should be what's just factored into the hourly rate to begin with. You know, you're saying, oh, well, I also should have this 20% fee because, you know, I'm going to need a little bit of downtime afterwards. I also need this for my insurance. I have this for my equipment. That should all be part of the line item fee to begin with. That now the biggest rule of thumb I ever have in any business, and I give this advice to any client who's in the same boat, and I sing it myself as well. But if you are selling your time for money, you should never break it down by time on the proposal. It's the worst thing. You will never grow or scale a business if you're swapping time for money directly like that. It's per hour. Yeah, it's the worst mistake.
Can I say something there?
Yeah,
Jen. Sorry, can I just say something there? And by the way, I completely agree with you. But just for service people to understand, they probably need to work that out though. Because sometimes they go, oh, I'll just charge this for a package. And I'm like, and then they come to me and they say, oh, well, that takes me 24 hours. That takes me 12 hours. And I'm like, well, what do you want? Like, what do you want to earn yourself? So I completely agree with packages. I don't think you should do that hourly thing. But I think in your head,
do
the business side behind the scenes.
Do it for yourself. Exactly.
Yes, that's what I mean. Just if anybody's in the service, you know, a videographer, they might have to work out the financials before they start putting their packages together.
I think it's because people go back a step and they say, what would I like to earn this year? And what is that per hour? When actually you've skipped step one, and step one is, okay, what are my costs on the hour? And then how much would I like to make a year? Because you've got to cover your expenses before you make your money. So, you know, line item 1 is your cost breakdown. Line item 2 is your hourly rate. And then those are merged into a project package. And that is how the proposal is shipped. Yes, those packages include A, B, C, D, E, F, and G, which is the kind of detail that Sian would like to see. But the time allocated against those, I'd be very reluctant to put in.
I don't want to see. What I'm saying is transparency is always great for me because I have the knowledge to be able to negotiate. I don't think we are ready for that though. I agree with you. Like a cost is a cost. You know, even if you don't have a bricks and mortar business, your costs are your costs every year, whether it be your insurance, you know, how.
But Sian,
I put in things like breakages.
Yeah. With the likes of your power hours now, like you're saying negotiate. Do you negotiate your power hours? Someone will come to you and say, I can't pay that, I'll pay 90 or whatever it is. Or
yeah, no, I don't on that because they're too valuable. They're never a bloody hour either. No. And it's taken me ages it took me a long time to be, and the power hour price actually didn't come from me. It came from weak competition. That sounds really harsh, doesn't it?
Okay.
But it's true. But it came from people charging still a lot more than I charge with 12 months or 24 months experience. I just couldn't be any cheaper if I wanted to be.
Yeah. It's just the kickback when I say, instead of going, come here, I love the idea, I love this, it's just a price point. Can we play with this a bit? I rarely get that email back. It's usually, thank you for your interest. But we do not have that in the budget.
Mm-hmm.
But that's
Irish people
that's up to you then to go back
it.
and say, well,
100%.
can we negotiate?
Yeah. That's where I go back. So my answer to that is I'm going to do a whole series on social media of my responses to these kind of emails. And it's like, no problem. This is what we usually charge for the scope of project, but happy to talk deliverables and reduce deliverables, just kind of fit your budget and that kind of thing. But a lot of the time I've lost the gig because of that. And by the time I'm trying to negotiate back and get that email back, they've moved on. They've gone somewhere else, you know?
Why is it taking you so long to reply? Sorry.
It's not. It would be the same. No, you're not. It would be the same day. It would be 20. Like I had a call yesterday, and budget was a bit too expensive.
But what is the reply? Is the reply what is your budget?
I'll tell you now. 2 seconds. I'll literally call out one of my emails there. What I sent there. 2 seconds.
Because
this is in depth, guys. Live action.
Yeah, we love this. Just because obviously I spend a lot of time with people going, sorry, that's out of budget, especially with the club because it's a non-for-profit. We're always pushing. So yeah.
So we had a call yesterday. He said, look, that price is too high for us. Even though he wanted a lot, he still wanted a lot. It was a lot. It was full social media management, a photo shoot and a video shoot. There was 15 reels and images. I think it was like 3,000 in total per month is what I charged. Everything plus VAT. And then he says, look, it's out of our ream at the moment, And then my email back to him, I said, no problem, I'll send you an email. And I said, hey, thanks for taking the call. Just in relation to the fee that was quoted for the monthly content creation and social media management, that's typically what we charge for something in that scope and scale. Do you have a number in mind you'd like to target? Happy to start and look, sorry, what's it say? It says, happy to start there and back into deliverables that make a little more sense for your budget. Look forward to hearing from you.
I wish all your emails were in video, Jay.
Yeah.
And you kind of moved your hand like that as well. Happy to hear back from you. Like that's the future.
The other side of that is like part of me would just write that off almost immediately as bad fit clients because as soon as the price goes down for you, you've got more work on your hands. I take more calls from clients that pay me under 5K a month than I do for clients that I charge more than 5K a month for.
Yeah, I agree.
So the other side of it is that like, is it like, oh, thank God we figured this out now.
Mentally, that person's gone in my head because if they come back to me, I'm like, oh, well, it's a surprise to me. But that response, do you think that's a bad response?
Yeah,
it's kind of a good response.
No. I think it's an interesting one just to gather data. You know, like, and the next one who comes to you of that size and scale, you can probably say, oh, look, normally for what you want, it's probably going to be, you know, here's 2 packages, the smaller one and the bigger one. Or you could do the price decoying where you look at, you know, the small, medium and large package. And then, you know, the small package is just a little off and the large package looks very good next to the medium package. Have you heard of this pricing decoy thing, Judie, as well?
The popcorn.
You were telling us about it before.
Yeah. So it's you could just decoy it in and just, I would play with the packaging quicker than anything else for the next one. That would just wide open me for just experimentation around how can I make that a best fit client in the proposal stage. Because it won't be a best fit client if you just reduce the volume against it, because they'll always want that little bit more. But yeah, it could be interesting.
And Jay, it sounds like what you were offering is very similar to the Reese Hopper at the start, which was 12 grand, and you're coming in at 3 and it's still not.
But that's not just me now. So that's me doing an 8-hour video shoot, doing a full day photo shoot, all the editing, and I actually have someone, a person I work with who will be managing and monitoring all social media, posting schedules 7 days a week, reels, posts, interactions, comments, sharing all that. Do you know what I mean? Like, so it's not like it's you're hiring a content team. You're getting a team to do your content for you. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Can I just ask, is this a large or small business?
Large.
So over 20, 30 employees?
Yes. 20 million, over 2 million a year earnings, I'd say, minimum.
Yeah, well, that doesn't matter. They could have 2.5 million outgoings. However, what I say is, the only thing I think you missed in that email was the personal piece. Like it, somewhere I would have said it would be great to work with you. But I mean, I think a 3 grand with management, I think that's ridiculously cheap, to be honest. 15 reels a month. Why do you need 50? You know what I mean? I think it's cheap. And the only thing I would say to you is the only reason you didn't get that is either it's the wrong match. They don't understand what you're actually doing for them. do they understand that that is a full day shoot? They do. Well, then they don't understand the value of it.
It was fully itemized. It was full breakdown. But as well, as I was saying, this is one of the people I was pitching against, where they would have gotten a proposal from a mobile videographer and photographer, mobile photographer as well. And I'd say their package is probably half mine. It's probably 1,500
with management.
From I don't know if I'm guessing so, because it is, they do, the other person does do that stuff as well.
Okay.
So, and I just wonder if the other person is doing a sustainable career service to themselves. And I'd love to see who adds the most value to the company. I'd love if you both were able to A/B test on your price point.
Oh, I've pitched on that before, and it's really interesting. So I had a client, it was actually in Cork. This was an American one. And they had 2 quotes for Google ad agencies, and the other agency was lower than ours. And I said, let me do your ads for a month, and I will do them for free for the first month, and look at the performance. I'm going to pull my information, I'll pause everything that I've done and I'll hide it from the account. Go with the other agency for the next month. And they were back to me in month 3. I was like, sometimes you just got to put your money put your money where your mouth is. When you're going to go above, when you're going above. It's like, I charge this because look what you'll get back. And I factored that in already because I'm higher cost. I already have the experience to know where your margins are. I know your growth model. I know where your business is trying to go. I know exactly the targets we have to achieve. I can already see from the others, they're going to come in cheaper, but it's not like for like. So it's a good way to go about it sometimes as well, where it's like, well, it's very difficult with video content to do that. I completely understand. My stuff is kind of like dollar in, dollar out, whereas like
but it isn't. Like people see content and they're like, oh yeah, it's fine, it's good, yeah, it's okay. But they see, oh, that's fucking class. That is class. There's different different approaches, there's different feels, different everything. Like, I
think it's really difficult, and I do agree with you that it's a really tough time because look, you're like, when I'm watching something, for me it's more about the information that I'm getting. I don't know the difference between good and bad video. I don't. I can tell the difference between pixelated video that's been sent through WhatsApp 6 times, by all means. Do you know what I mean? But I don't know the difference. Phone is fine for me. Phone is fine for most of the companies I work for. So I just think it's a really difficult time. I think it will sort itself out though. And it is, where's this content landing? If it's landing on social media, we know that phone is probably good enough. If it's landing on YouTube, if it's landing on your website, you need to spend a bit of money on it.
Yeah, and like you said, it comes down to the planning. But yeah, go on, Jay. Sorry, yeah, because I feel like we could talk for an hour on this topic, so I'm conscious to move this on.
Your example about photography, Sian, like you were saying about that studio that wanted to use that photograph. Like with photographers, we own that, right? We own that. Like in the States, if you go to a photographer, he's going to license you the images. So you're going to pay that on top of your photo shoot. So let's say he takes 15 photographs for you. You're going to pay about $1,500 to license that for 12 months, 10 months, whatever it is. And like, there's one massive photographer I follow. Coca-Cola pays him 10 to 15 grand a year to use like 4 images that he took for them as a license. Do you know?
And that's why the Photographers Association have unions.
And that depends on who you're using, because I own my photography work. That depends on who you're using and what relationship you have with them, but definitely worth knowing about.
I was going to say, definitely talk to a photographer, because I will never give anyone the rights of anything I shoot unless they pay me a lot of money up for it. Like, and that's why I say never send your raw images, never send your raw footage. You own that, and the people are technically licensing off you somewhat. You know,
there's an additional, like when someone asks me to do an influencer post, it's price point A, and then price point B is if they want to license it to run it in their ads for the following 96, however many days afterwards, and there's a 90-day rolling fee on that then as well. Because if they're going to leverage it to get even more sales on top of that, and they're using my likeness to do so, then there's a fee for that.
For example, I got some good news the last day. I'm working with I'll tell you more. I can't say it online, but I'll tell you after that. A company in America saw one of my TikToks I did about them. Sian made a free one. They got onto me about it. Class. and they want me to do another video for them, just a small thing about a new software they're using. They're giving me the software for free, and they want to pay me $1,000 for licensing it because they want to do paid ads with it.
Yeah,
that kind of idea.
Yeah.
I mean, so it's just
licensing
cool.
for paid ads is a big thing, especially stateside. Like any content that you can, you should even have a bank of content somewhere. Like even on in your website. Sorry, I'm off on a tangent because I'm thinking about this for myself at the moment because I'm doing a bit of transitional work in the background here. But a UGC license fee and having that available on the site, like if you want to, like on that passion fruit link, even where people can book me, is also just a
I
UGC
actually applied for it and they have never got back to me. So
yeah, me too.
Me too.
But this is why we need unions also, and some sort of collaboration. Videographers are in a very competitive mode at the moment, and you get the collaboration through Take 9, and we need to be more collaborative and help each other because we don't have that kind of agreement for our stuff. Like the contract I just signed now for 2 months, I got an NDA and an agreement where they own all the footage. And, you know, again, it's a 2-month thing. I'm going to learn an awful lot through this project. So I was like, okay, suck it up. But like for next time, I'm going to know the right things to say for this kind of similar thing. So anyway, one more thing before we move on though. WhatsApp has... what's that?
Just before you jump, like that, there's certain projects, you kind of don't care if you have the rights to them. You can keep the footage.
Well,
Go for it.
Exactly.
I'm okay with not having that footage.
Yeah. Totally. I don't need that hard drive. But in WhatsApp, when you're sending a video now at the moment, there's an option for HD. I'm sure you all know about this, but it's not full HD. And I sent a video to someone the other day through it, and they uploaded it, and it's like I was like, no, please let me send you the WeTransfer link. So use it, but be careful. Okay, I'm gonna do a really quick round now because we are almost on 30 odd minutes, right? So I'm just going to ask you questions and you're going to try and answer them as quick as possible. So Jen, what is something that you love that is cheaper than it should be?
What is something I love? I can't even think off the top of my head, but probably CapCut.
Beautiful.
Nice.
Yeah. I haven't thought about it either, and I wish I had that one. Jay, what's something that is you love that is cheaper than it should be?
Bloom is the software I use for all my invoicing, and it's invoicing, project management, contracts, all in the one thing. You can build a website through it. It's a whole thing. It's a software called bloom.io. But highly check it out. It's like $30 a month, which was crazy. Because
Sian?
before I had tons of stuff. Yeah, go on.
I'm going to actually come straight back. I've got 2 things. WeTransfer, because it's free and it's just amazing. Yeah. And I use it all the time. And Jay's $3,000 package.
Hey.
Yes. And as always, I'm going back to Adobe Podcast Enhance because I cannot believe how much it is helping my life with audio. My terrible audio days are officially over. I can save almost anything with that software. So Jen, can you teach me something about pricing? Now, you already did earlier, but your WeTransfer video this week was brilliant. I don't know, it might have been a repost or I might have just seen it, but will you talk about that there?
Yeah, so there's a school of thought called product-led growth where you allow your product to lead the growth of your business more so than your marketing. And it leads into your marketing by virtue of this. So essentially, it's about placing your free and paid plans quite strategically in such a way that you get enough free users that they spread the word, but your pain point delivers well into the paid plan. So WeTransfer is an excellent example of this because they allow you to use the service for free up until 2 gigabytes. So everyone uses it. Marketers, Sian just mentioned it there. It's a tool that lots of people use just to swap files, get files back and forth to each other. But WeTransfer know that their ideal customer is a videographer. And a videographer, 2 gigabytes is like, oh, this is nothing. I need millions of gigabytes. I need all the gigabytes going. So that's when they introduced the paid tier. If you would like to go above that 2 gigabyte range, then you start paying a monthly fee for WeTransfer. So it's a beautiful setup of product-led growth where the free plan is spreading the word, and then the paid tier tips itself just at this perfect pain point for their ideal customer. And that's how they can grow their paid user base then.
Even the likes of video games, Fortnite, Helldivers, free to play, hundreds and thousands playing at the same time. But if you want that new gun, you want that next level suit or whatever it is, you have to pay. Like, it's so smart. Just get them in the door for free.
For sure. Jay, do you have something that you can teach us about pricing?
Yes. I'm not too expensive. I'm just not in your budget.
Love.
Get that in the mindset. Get that in your mindset, because you're like, oh, am I too expensive? I'm too expensive. Oh my God. It will eat at you. Like, you're thinking, if that's the mindset, like you have to say it like a mantra every morning. I'm not too expensive. I'm just out of your budget. You can't afford it, basically.
Beautiful. Sian, do you have a pricing teach me?
Well, know your pricing. If you, especially, so I deal with a lot of people that are selling product and they haven't worked out their pricing properly. Then they find out they've got no margin and they can't wholesale their product. Do that work before you start speaking to people. The amount of people that approach people to sell their product and then work out there's no margin on it. I mean, for God's sake, we've been watching Dragon's Den for long enough. You must know your margins. And then, just before you make those decisions, exactly what Jen was saying earlier, you've got to understand your outgoings, and that as a self-employed person, or a solopreneur, offering a service, that could be what is your gas? What is your electric? You've got to understand your costings, and you've got to work out then how much you desire to earn, what you want to earn, but also what your capacity is. Again, I might meet people. I met someone the other day and she was like, I want to do this project. Can you advertise it for me? Blah, blah. I need 40 people and all these figures she threw at me. And then I said, oh, no problem at all. How many days do you work a week? We worked out that this project she wanted to do was going to take 2 years. But she hadn't worked out the numbers. Yeah. So just know your numbers. And if you have problems with it, just ring me, book in for power, I'll sort you out.
But there are people you can hire for days, come in and just rip the business apart, isn't there?
I mean, I do that.
Do all the numbers, because you might be listening and go, oh yeah.
Yeah, no, I do half-day planning days. So I did one last week, actually, a flipping brilliant one last week, which was exactly that, actually. But a business that's been going for 2-3 years, a retail business, but it's getting to the point now where they're getting so big, some big people want to wholesale them. They've got no movement on their margin. So what we have to do then is actually look at where production is, etc. And we have to look at bringing her costs down so that she'll have margin so that she can go into the bigger stores. But she's 3 or 4 years in business. So I do that a lot. I love doing that, actually. As an operator, that's what really floats my boat. And
as an entrepreneur, and if you're the business owner, it's scary and it's riveting to sit in those kind of meetings to actually go, fuck, really?
Yeah. But we do that. Like, every client that comes in the door, same as like we got a growth model before we dived into this podcast, on which I need to heavily revisit. But any client that comes through the door, the first thing that's done is that growth model, and you should see some people's faces. It's like, what? But I've even started like thinking about it from like a life perspective, where it's like, okay, these are all of like my costs. These are all of my business costs. These are like, you don't need to break down your costs to figure out what you need to survive. You need to break down your costs so you can figure out what you need to do to thrive in life. Because why would you sacrifice? What are you sacrificing? You're not beholden to anyone, especially if you're an entrepreneur. You have to know what you want from life a little bit here to kind of really get your pricing right. And there's value in that to a degree as well, because yourself, if you are just covering the bases, there's no real joy in life from that.
Your cup gets empty very fast and you cannot give to other people, for sure. I'm going to say a more practical kind of one, which I've only kind of started using this year, but there's skill nets all over the country. And for anyone who's a trainer, if I send a proposal to someone and they come back and they say that's a little bit expensive, I will reply and say, have you got in touch with your local skill net who can potentially take off 20% of the training costs once the training goes through them? And that is a real game changer. It's a pity it's not there for content creation, but it is there for the training, which could benefit some of you listening.
Well, do you know, funny enough, because I actually worked operationally as a consultant last year with one of the skill nets, and they are amazing. And I'm hoping that there might be something in the future, Judie, something that we're working on that they will be able to do that. But consultancy can be done. So sometimes you can put this sort of thing through consultancy. I recently did a half day with a beauty style business, and a lot of what I think was 50% was paid actually through their SkillNet.
Wow. Amazing. Yeah, I think they probably have enough budget that they can kind of decide which one's going. Okay, I'm going to move on now. Okay, we're almost there. Talk to me about YouTube. How is it going? And what are your plans for next? Yeah, I know.
You best be hiding, Jen.
Look, Jay is the only one who's good.
Look, Jay,
I've stopped.
A video went out. No, a video went out. Which is not good enough. But
when did you record the video, Jen?
Do you know
Shan
who
has
edited
left
and cut
the
that
room,
video?
by the way. Shan is gone. Okay.
Do you know who? I actually
recording it.
About 2 years ago, I actually hired Leah from Penny Productions to do a series of 8 YouTube videos for me, and I never posted them. I was about to dive into YouTube, and that was one of those 8. That was one of those 8 videos, and I realized no sooner had I had it uploaded, I was like, okay, this is such a bad video. Not because of Leah, because of me, because my ability to present has gotten better since. And I deleted all of the other 7 files because I was like, I will cheat again if I know that they're sitting there. But what I've done this week is I've put together like a structured question list for myself, and I need a structure for this. I need to figure out how it's going to work. I've a slick structure done with the Instagram side of things. Last week I was so stumped for an idea, but if I can structure this so it's the same every week or something, then I think I'll be able to do it quite well. I spent like 2 hours last night watching Casey Neistat how to vlog videos, and then I spiraled into I'll do this every day. Perfect. Which is like one extreme to the other from last week. But yeah. I'm going to transition into a slightly more vlog style one from Friday, and the question set is going to remain the same. So it'll be an intro one on Friday and then moving forward from there. But yeah, last week was a fucking nightmare.
For those who don't know, Casey Neistat is the best vlogger, YouTuber in the world. And Jen, check out Sarah Dici. She did a video. It was hilarious. She had like 5,000 subscribers, and she did a video and said the video was how to vlog like Casey Neistat. She went to bed and literally she woke up to 150,000 extra subscribers off the video.
That is unbelievable. Because I'm even writing on the same page where I had my core notes from him last night, where it's like, always make sure you have a setup, conflict resolution, and that you use handheld shots, locked up shots, the tripod ones. Location shots should only be used for transition and originality above everything else, but I don't quite have that yet. So that's the one I'm working on today.
Fantastic.
What's the name of that person?
Sarah Dici. Dici rhymes with peachy is the way she says it.
No, Casey what?
Casey Neistat. Neistat.
I'm actually going to skip you, Jay, because we'll end on a high because you're actually doing what we're supposed to do. So Shan, talk to me. How are you, girl?
Oh my God. And this is actually, Stephen Bartlett, this is how you do it, because you start normal, you drop right down low, Shan Horn, and you come back up at the end. So I've discovered what my problem is with YouTube is I don't know anything about it. I don't watch it. It's bringing me zero joy. I'm not involved in it whatsoever. So I'm so stuck. That video that I finished it's finished. It's ready to go. I went on holiday and went like, fuck YouTube, basically. But I think that's the problem is I'm not involved in it at all. Whereas I'm really involved in my community on Instagram, and I can even see TikTok and how it's going to work for me with my travel. I just can't see it. Anyway, however, I've thought of an amazing title for this week, so I'm going to do it. It is going to be a vlog. It's the only way that I can do it. And I've thought of an amazing title, and I can't wait to put it out now.
I love shenanigans, by the way. I think it definitely beats horny bits.
I love shenanigans. And then I found somebody else that's using it for a podcast. She's on Vanderpump Rules, and her name is, it's not Sian.
Yeah. It doesn't matter.
And I was like,
go with it.
Yeah, no, I will go with it. I will go with it. But
you know what? When you do something like that, you just got to try for it to be known as yours, not as theirs. Is the little
Yeah. I was on the
Vendetta,
plane.
I build now.
Yeah. There was other
I was
unbranded
on the plane
podcasts.
back from
Yeah.
from Malta, and I was just like, oh bollocks, how dare she nick my name? And then I like, then it was like, she's obviously been around for years, but it's spelled differently and everything. But yeah, you know, that usual of you're not recreating the wheel here. Everybody thinks the name is the first time they've thought of it. I didn't think of it, actually. It was one of my followers sent it to me. So I shall keep it. However, this week's episode, I got a great title.
I love it.
Oh, cool. Okay. And Jay, the leader of the pack, the original, the
No,
one
sorry,
who
Judie.
stayed away from his family.
Let's not forget you, Judie. Sorry, if you want to just give us an update there.
I re-uploaded. I did not make an original video. I followed Jen's thing and just did what Jen did, thank God.
No, you weren't going to do anything. And then Jen's like, go on, cheat. You go cheat as well.
Yeah. And I was like, okay, sweet. But Jay, you didn't go home on Friday night. Everyone else left the building and you stayed away from your family and you stayed in the studio to record your YouTube video, which is extremely amazing. And congratulations. How's it going for you?
Yeah, I'm loving it. And what was even better, I got great feedback. What I love is the guys here is I post the YouTube video and I'll get texts. Great frame. Nice lighting. Like, it's just nice to get those from kind of peers and stuff like that. Like, great frame. Like, Leah texted me like 12 o'clock that night. Just watch the video. Great frame. And that to me is like class. But
Lovely.
It's just, to me as well, it's practice. I'm practicing. That could be an interview setup. That could be something down the line for a corporate gig. But like fuck on for beers. Fuck on for that shit. Like, I'm happy to sit in a fucking warehouse and do a video and be here till 11 o'clock and just work. And, I'm loving it.
Amazing. Okay, so we're going to wrap it up there now. And
can I just say something?
We require sponsors, guys. Oh, yes, please. Yeah.
Sorry, just something came up this week. And I just want to say, just because what we've talked about a lot today, and I just want to say, I loved what Jen said earlier about when someone said, I can't afford it, we're going to go with a competitor, and she offered her services and had like real pride in what she does and confidence in that she could do that. Sometimes I think we can close ourselves off, or we don't ask the questions or go back with a counter offer, and I think it's well worth it. And the other thing is somebody sent me an email this week, and I just wanted to just say it because I hate it when this happens and I want people to be aware of it. So someone sent me an email and it was a lovely email, and her friend has gone into business and was asking, could I help them? And I get these emails most days. And I obviously reply to those emails now, like saying, go to my website and you can book a power hour. And I know they won't book, but I give all my pro bono to the club and to those. So I have no more capacity for pro bono. And so I just don't ever want people to think I'm being mean, but unfortunately they do have to pay for our time. Which brings you in probably nicely to sponsorship.
Sponsorship. I was going to say, what we're charging very little for sponsorship is what we're looking for at the moment, just to pay expenses and get everyone paid. So it's a great opportunity to get in now while it is quite low, and email hello@shanhorn.com if you'd like to know more, because she's the best at this by far.
Thanks, Jude.
Is that okay, Shan? No, we have a lovely proposal document sent together. So if you even want to be nosy and just have a look at our prices, please do reach out to one of us and we will send that over to you. Thanks a million for watching or listening, and we will see you for episode 24 next week.
Amazing. Thanks so much, guys.
Support your local creators.
Yay!